Hello guys and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Amen from Bookers and now let's go for Gullivers Travels Part 2. Meanwhile, I was struggling to unfasten myself, but just as I managed to pull my left arm free of the ropes, I felt 100 arrows land on my free hand and more arrows on my face, and nobody. This was very painful and made me cry aloud. I lay quietly, so to see what would happen next. When they saw I was no longer struggling, they quickly built a platform next to my head, and an official climbed up there to speak to me. Although I couldn't understand this language, I understand that they would be friendly towards me if I didn't try to harm them. By now, I was extremely hungry, so I used sign language to beg the official for food. He seemed to understand me because immediately ladders were put against my sides and little man climbed up with baskets of food and drink. They were surprised at how much I could eat and drink. In just one mouthful, I ate 3 of their meat dishes and 3 of their loaves of bread. I drank 2 of their barrels of wine and was still thirsty, because that was only half a liter. While they were bringing me food, I wondered whether to pick up a handful of the little man and throw them to their death. But I was afraid they would shoot at me again, and anyway, I was grateful for their kindness in giving me food and drink, so I didn't move. After some time, another official climbed up to the platform and spoke to me. From his signs, I understood that they were going to move me. The king of this country, which was called Lilliput, had ordered his people to carry me to the capital city, about a kilometer away. I made signs to ask whether I could be untied, but the official politely refused. While I was eating, a platform had been prepared to carry me. The people of Lilliput, known as the Lilliputians, are very intelligent and clever with their hands. For me, 500 men built a special wooden platform with 22 wheels. 900 of the strongest men worked for about 3 hours to lift me on the platform, and 1,500 of the king's largest horses, each 11.5 centimeters high, pulled me to the capital. And I didn't know about any of this because they had put a sleeping powder in my wine and I was in a deep sleep. The king had decided I would stay in the largest available building just outside the city gates. Its door was only a meter high and half a meter wide, so I could only just get inside on my hands and knees. My guards put 91 chains on my left leg so that I could not escape. Then they cut the ropes that tied me, and I was able to get to my feet. As I stood up, I heard cries of astonishment all around me. I felt rather miserable, but at least I could walk about now. In a 2 meter circle, I was certainly an interesting sight for the Lilliputians, who had come out of the city in crowds of several thousand to see me. Now I had a good view of countryside. The fields looked like flowers in a garden, and even the tallest trees were only 2 meters high. I was soon visited by the king himself. He has a strong, handsome face and is very popular among his people. He arrived with his queen, his children, and his lords and ladies, all dressed in beautiful gold and silver clothes. In order to make conversation easier, I lay on my side so that my face was close to him. I spoke to him in all the languages I know, but we still couldn't understand each other. The king ordered his people to make me a bed using 600 Lilliputians' bed. It was not very comfortable, but it was better than sleeping on the stone floor. He ordered the crowds of sightseers to go back to their homes so that the work of the country could continue and I wouldn't be annoyed. For a long time, he discussed with his lords in private what should be done with me. I was told all this later by a good friend of mine. Clearly, such a large person could be a danger to his small people. At last, it was decided that as I had behaved so well up to now, I would be kept alive. Food and drink would be brought to me every day from all the villages. 600 people would be my servants, 300 men would make me a new suit, and 6 teachers would teach me their language. And so, in about 3 weeks, I began to speak the language of Lilliput. The king often visited me, and every time he came, I asked him to take off my chains. He explained that first I must promise not to fight against Lilliput or hurt Lilliputians, and that I must be searched for weapons. I agreed to both these things and carefully picked up 2 of his offers in my hands. I put them first in one pocket, then moved them to all my other pockets, except 2 which I kept secret. As they searched, they wrote down in a notebook details of all the things they found. Afterwards, I read some of their report. In the second coat pocket, we found 2 very large pieces of wood, and inside them were great pieces of metal. Very sharp. In another pocket there was a most wonderful engine. At the end of a line chain, the engine was inside a huge round container, which was made half of silver and half of another metal. This second metal was very strange, as we could see through it to some mysterious writing and pictures. The engine made a continuous loud noise. The officers could not guess what these things were, but they were, of course, my 2 pocket knives and my watch. They also found my comb, a purse with several gold and silver coins, my gun, and bullets. The king wanted to know what the gun was used for. Bring it out, he ordered me, and show me how it works. I took the gun out and put a bullet into it. Don't be afraid, I warned the king. Then I fired the gun into the air. It was the loudest noise the Lilliputians had ever heard. Hundreds of them thought they were dead and fell down. The king himself was very frightened. As I gave my gun to the officials to keep, I warned them to be careful with it. They allowed me to keep all my other things and hoped that one day soon I would be free. The end of chapter 2. Thank you for listening me, and don't forget to like and subscribe my YouTube channel, and goodbye until next podcast.